All right. Hello, everybody. It is August 10th here, and business is shifting right under our feet. It's pretty crazy how much business is going on right now. I see stuff like flooding out of the woodwork like I haven't seen in a long time. I don't know what's going on. Something's going on with the economy or something, but I think people are figuring out they're needing to flood online. There's been a lot of change with AI. AI is shifting a lot of businesses. And just like when COVID hit and everybody realized, hey, we can't do stuff this way anymore, we've got to change. And they all flooded online for that too. So I think this is another flood that we're experiencing based around AI and just changing technologies. Like, I had a conversation with Natasha Duswalt. She runs a modeling agency, and she was like saying, hey, weird stuff's going on. And I asked her, I said, have you considered what AI is about to do to your business? And she had no idea what I was talking about. And I showed her some of these things, like these, they call them deep fake. And basically with deep fake is kind of the wording behind what it's being called. You can scan someone's body. Like they don't have to be naked. They can be wearing clothes, but you can literally scan their body. And then the AI can put them in any environment, get them to do anything you want them to do, and dress them in any clothing you want them dressed in. It's freaking amazing. So, like, just like I saw commercial photography ending right before my eyes back in the 90s, and shifted gears really quickly into the internet, that's going to happen in a lot of industries right now with AI. So I basically walked her through what that's going to look like in the modeling world. I said, at some point in the very near future, modeling agencies are going to be very, very different. And that's just an example. If almost any industry where you can automate for using technology, those industries are either going to radically change or flat out disappear. Like the industry that I was in, that I started in 85 to 95, it's gone. It doesn't even exist. Like there's all kinds of companies that were just left by the roadside. I mean, big companies too. Like, when was the last time you heard about Kodak or Fujifilm? Those were enormous companies back then, just decimated by technology. So you need to start thinking about that in your business. Whatever business you're in, think about what kind of disruptors could affect it. And, there's huge advantages. I've said this many times. When a door closes, it opens a window of opportunity. You've just got to be tuned in with it and be looking for what windows are opening around you. There's a lot of money to be made in those windows that are opening. So keep that in mind. And for me, I have a conflict right now because this is the time of year I usually shift my business to killing fish. and this whole thing, like business, is just getting in my way. So, all right. Well, that said, I'm going to open it up. Anybody got any questions? Anything you want me to look at? I don't think Woody is on here yet, but he wanted me to review his site. So we'll wait for him to pop on before I do that. Oh, let's see. Mr. McLean, were you clear on the pathway that we talked about yesterday? Did I confuse you or?
Well, I just what I'm seeing with the site so far, it goes from, with the 4 pages, it goes from a free offer for a download, and it takes them right to a $97 offer.
Yes, and I was thinking about that, and I think probably why you were confused, because we don't have all the pieces yet.
Okay.
We didn't have all the pieces to really do what I was envisioning yet. And I just don't think you were kind of putting the gaps together. I jump gaps like they're not even there. And I know a lot of people don't. So I apologize if I didn't explain it properly. But let me just like go through, and what we're talking about here is a marketing campaign sequence, like taking somebody from cold, doesn't know you, doesn't know anything about you, to point of sale. The first thing in that process is always the creation of the relationship. There has to be a meeting of some sort. Whether this goes on in the real world or in the digital world, it's the same thing. There's a meeting of sorts. Now, in this case, we're going to offer what's called a lead magnet, a free thing to help this person that we don't know get something that they want. So the best way to figure out what that free thing should be in your business is to look at the timeline of your prospect. And they're in a state that they don't want to be in. That's where they are on the timeline. That's their current frame, the current frame of mind. What you need to do is look at where they want to be that your product or service can deliver them to. Like maybe they're broke, maybe they're fat, maybe they're not married, whatever it is. And they want the other thing. They want to be married. They want to be happily married. They want to be wealthy. They want to be trim and fit, whatever it is. That's the end of the timeline. And if you have a product or service that can deliver that outcome, then you got a match made in heaven. All you have to do is create the relationship, build the demand and desire for what you have, and make them an offer. That's how you're going to take them from cold to a sale. So the lead magnet, this is really important. The first thing that you offer them is the first step in that process. Like if they're on the timeline where they want to be, they're not happy, they're not what they want, they don't have what they want, and they sometimes they don't even know what it is. Sometimes they just know they're not happy. So sometimes you have to shine a light on, hey, here's where you want to go over here. And then they get it, they can see the picture, now they want it. So the lead magnet is the first thing. And you can tell them, hey, if this is what you want, here's what you're going to have to do first. If you can't do this one thing, you're never going to get there, right? And you give them that first step. And when they take that first step, their confidence goes through the roof. And when their confidence goes up after taking that first step, they can now actually envision getting what they want, and they want it even more. Their desire for getting that result just went through the roof. So figuring out, this is everyone's job here, is to figure out what's the thing I can offer them to give them that first step. You know, like I absolutely love the funnel that David D'Angelo made for dating. You know, he said, if you want to win the girl, you cannot get anywhere in this process if you can't talk to her. Like he realized that was most guys' problem, is they don't know how to talk to women, right? He identified that. And he also identified that's the first step on the timeline to getting a woman to go out with you. If you can't get her to go out with you, you're not going to get married. You're not going to live happily ever after. I mean, he knew the timeline. So he said, he gave away, here's how to get women to talk to you. That was his lead magnet. And he said right out, if you can't do this, you're done. You have no hope. You might as well shrivel up and die, pull the sheets over your head, and just sleep the rest of your life, right? It ain't happening. So he painted a really grim picture if you take no action. And then he handed them, here, let me help you. Let me help you get women to talk to you. And he attached that outcome to the next step, which was getting them to go out with you. So you need to do this in your business. You need to figure out what that procedure is. How do you get them from where they are to where they want to be? And your funnel needs to educate them and walk them through that process. If your product or service is the thing that's going to take them to the goal line, then you need to talk about how that fits in to them getting to the goal line. That's the best way to create demand and desire. So first step in the funnel process, figure out what you can give them to give them that first step. That's known as a lead magnet. You put that on an opt-in page. Some people call this a landing page. It's a page. I don't care what you call it. It's a page that offers them that free thing. Call it what you want. They opt in. They put their name and email address in there to get the free thing that you've offered them. And then you take them to a thank you page. The thank you page should have a button to download that free thing or give them. If it's a video, it should have the video on there, whatever it is. You're delivering the free thing. And then you take it a step further and you offer a second step for free as well. Frank Kern calls this stacking the cool. They already see you as cool because you're giving them the first step. You're offering to help them at no cost and no obligation, right? You're creating a relationship.
And is that on the, see, I was just calling to ask you, I'm missing an intermediate part that mentions or gives a link to the webinar.
I'm getting to
oh,
that.
okay. All right.
So that's where you stack the cool. That's the second piece. So you give them the first thing, right? You've delivered on what you promised. And now you're going to stack the cool and you're going to say, hey, you know, this free thing I'm giving you, it's awesome, but here's how to take the next step, or let me help you with that. Let me help you implement that. And you offer to give them the next thing, which in your case, Chris, is a webinar. And you know, let's not get caught up in what we call it. It's a video, right? You can call it a webinar, you can call it a presentation, whatever. It's a video. It's a video presentation. So you're offering to let them see that because that's going to help them understand how to implement this first thing that you gave them and take and move action toward their goal. So that video can be on that thank you page. That video could be a link to that thank you page to another page. Doesn't matter. But the sequence is they opt in on one page. They go to a thank you page that delivers the thing they asked for. And then you invite them to the second piece, which is the webinar. And again, this is all semantics, how it's delivered. It doesn't matter. Don't get caught up in that. You can put that free webinar on the thank you page. You can put a link to it. What I wouldn't do is I wouldn't make them opt in for it because they're already opted in. You don't need to put them through that again. Just give it to them. Also, while this is all going on in real time, you want an email sequence behind the scenes, because here's what happens. Somebody does this. They get on the computer, they opt in, they get the free download on the thank you page, and then the phone rings, right? And they're distracted. And all of a sudden that thank you page gets closed and it's freaking gone forever. They have no idea how to get back to it. That's where your email follow-up, thanking them for asking for the download, giving them the link back to that page so they have it forever, and putting them in the sequence, delivering that webinar, because that webinar, that video is the key to you moving this to a sale. And you just give them the free thing and you stop, you're not going to make a sale. You have to continue to build the relationship. You have to continue to deliver value, build trust, create demand and desire. That's what the webinar does. That's what the video is for. Best way that I know to do that is just tell them how to do what they want to get done and then offer to help them. That's your offer at the end of that. Hey, I have this service, I have this product, and it will help you do what we just talked about, because that's what you need to do to get what you want. That's the presentation. In a nutshell, that is it. That is what you're doing. That's the mechanics behind it. And if you can't do that, you're probably not going to make very many sales. So you take them, let's say they go to another page, they click on the thank you page to go view the webinar, watch the video. What I usually do is, and this goes back to just traditional sales in the real world, you never reveal the price before you've built the value. So you don't want to put that webinar up on a page and then have the prices there to buy it before they've watched the webinar. So what I usually do inside Kartra is I'll take the pricing button, I'll take the buy now button, and I'll hide it. So they only get the video. They have to watch the video to a certain point before that button is revealed. And in Kartra, they have timers. You can actually hide sections of a site for a certain length of time. So if your video is 30 minutes and your presentation is like 20 of that before you reveal the price, I'll hide the button and I'll hide the price and the button to buy now till 20 minutes into the video. As soon as I talk about the price, I've got them where I want them. I don't want to delay them. If the video goes on for another 10, 20 minutes, I don't want to delay them. If they're ready to buy, I want to let them buy right now. So I reveal the button. I say in the video, I say, hey, at this point, you can click the button. If you know this is for you, click the button below and let's do this thing. Let them, cut those horses loose, let them run. But don't do it before that, because what'll happen if they see the price and the buy button and all that before you've delivered the value, they're going to prejudge before they have the information. And that's not good for you. That's why I used car salesmen will never tell you the price till they put you behind the wheel. They want you to feel the machine before they reveal the price. So hopefully that makes sense. And then, alongside that, you have an email sequence going out, reminding them to watch that video. You can also put tags in the sequence to let you know if they've not watched the video, continue the sequence, continue the emails going out, reminding them, here's the link to the video. Here's how important it is. Remember that thing you wanted? You're not going to get it until you watch the video. You're just reminding them how to get what they want. You're creating a relationship. You're not being pushy. You're not pushing a sale. All you're doing is trying to help them by sharing a video that's going to help them get what they want. Right? You're not trying to push a sale. Just trying to be helpful. Right? So that sequence keeps going on. Now, another thing that I do, and we talked about this when we created your funnel, is I put a sense of urgency into it. When they click to watch the video and that page loads, we implement a timer. And we say for fast action movers, we're going to give you 48 hours to take advantage of this offer before the special pricing disappears. So I never try and push them to buy it right now. I don't like that when people do it to me, so I don't do it to anyone. So I give them like 48 hours. In the email sequence that's running along under the collar here, it keeps emailing them, reminding them, hey, there's only 1 day left. Hey, it ends today. You only have 2 hours left to take advantage of this offer. And then if they don't buy within the 48 hours, on the 49th hour, I send them hey, I'm really sorry you missed on the opportunity. If you still want the product, if you still want to get the result, you can still purchase it. You just missed the special fast action bonus. Here's the link to purchase at the regular price. You would not believe how many people purchase at the regular price. And you'll get a few that will email you and they'll say, damn it, I was out of town this weekend. I really wanted to take advantage of that. It's all bullshit, but they're going to tell you anything they want to try and get that thing when they realize you are truthful and you do what you say. Now they're going to beg. That's a really good time to make a sale and an offer. You can say, hey, no problem. Let me send you a link. This is a special link. It's going to expire today. Make sure you take advantage of it. If you don't, then, it's back to the regular price. And they know you're serious because you've already taken it away once. They're not going to want to have to beg twice. So this is all the psychology of the sale going on here. So that's a lot of pieces. That's a lot of moving parts, but they go along in a sequence that's very defined and very easy to put together. It's just, if you do them one at a time, it's not overwhelming. And with your particular funnel, we built the entire framework out. We're just waiting on a couple of pieces to plug in. And I think that was where your point of confusion was. You didn't have all the pieces, so we couldn't really, finish it out and continue the sequencing. So if you make the webinar, we can plug that into the page, set the timer, make the buttons show up at the right time, and you'll pretty much be done, ready to go. So you're really close. Just takes a little on your side. It just takes a little fine tuning your copy, getting your copy ready on those pages, plugging in the videos where you need them. And then we're ready to make a final comb through and just cut that thing loose. Let it run. Let's see how it works. You're muted out there.
Yep. I have a couple quick questions for you. So, so what you need from me is just the webinar video, and and then we can plug it into the pages and make it all connect. Is that correct?
Yep. And any final copy that you want on those pages.
Okay, that sounds good.
And keep the string in mind that like you're delivering them the first thing, and then you're acting cool. Like, hey, by the way, I want to give you more. I really want to help you get what you want. So I did this video, I pre-recorded it, and I'm going to give you access to the recording because it's helped all the other people that I gave it to. So I want to give it to you too. So keep that kind of narrative to it.
Okay. I have two technical questions, and then I'm going to go back to work on refreshing the pages, which I've been doing with copy, and then I'll work on the webinar. So the two technical questions, can I share my screen real quick and ask you two technicals? All right. So the first thing is this here. So in the pages right now, it shows this page, but it doesn't reflect any changes. Is that just a glitch? Meaning I was in here the other day and this is what the page really looks like.
Sometimes that'll happen if you haven't published the page.
Okay.
So if you publish and then refresh it, it should update that. If it doesn't, then it's just a glitch in the software. I've had that happen to me a couple of times, just randomly, where it did that. And then like within a day or two, it showed the right page.
Okay. And that was just a little confusing. You log in, it's like, holy shit, it's not there. And all right. And the second technical question is this: on this particular page, the video, it's below it extends below the fold. So my question is, how can I make that smaller? I've not seen anything in there to reduce the size.
Go into the style tab there.
Okay.
And here you can shrink it by the tabs or the margins.
Okay. And
try and shrink the bottom up more.
All right. And so I'll just go down.
Like take it up to the max amount.
Okay. Up or down? Oh, I'll try this.
No, the other way. Go. Okay. Yeah, there you go. 100 pixels. Go the other way. 100 pixels up.
Okay. Right there.
Yeah, and then apply that and see if that pushes it up a little bit.
Yeah, so that's the thing I was working on, is that it's maxed out, but it's not moving. So
well, here's another way to try it. Click on the columns button at the top.
Yep.
Okay, so now that you're in columns, you're going to get a different view here.
Okay.
When you roll over the columns, let's see, roll over the column there again. It should give you. You almost had, there you go. Now the one with the vertical hamburger on the left, click that. That's the column width. You can compress the width of the column. You can drag those little arrows left and right.
Okay.
Yes. So pull that in. That's going to shrink the size of that box.
Oh, well, there you go then.
And that will reduce the size of that video.
Okay. Well, aren't you SMRT?
There's
Nice.
always a way to skin the cat.
All right. Now I just need, at this point, then I just need to center it.
Well, what you do to center it is just pull it in equally from the left and the right.
Okay.
Because it's one cell. You're working with one cell, a one cell column there. So go over to the left side arrow and pull that in. You lost the hamburger.
Yep.
Okay, so go to the left arrow. Yeah, pull that in a couple of rungs and then push the right one back out. That's how you center it.
Okay. All right. I was going to recompress it. Yeah. All right. Now that I know the mechanism, I won't delay the call, or I'll work with that. I was thinking I had to recompress it to a smaller video, but
Nope.
and I couldn't find the resizing. But you're right. It's in the columns. It's in the columns, not the. I was trying to shrink the component itself.
Yeah,
but that's,
certain things you can do that. Like if it's an image, they have a size from the images, so you can size the images. But videos, it's going to take the width of the column. Okay,
I'll just save progress on that, and that's good. And then so that's great, John. Thanks for that. That kept me from pulling my hair out. And then I'll just work with the, again, this is the confidence opt-in right here. You know, I'll work with this page. And again, the thing that just confused me a little bit is that the opt-in makes sense. And it's on this page. I'll say, thank you. Go ahead and download your freebie. You know, but it's on this page. I'm going to add a column and then the component of a video saying, hey, thanks for downloading that. You know, I'm here to give you a free webinar and walk you through this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the video can either appear right there or it'll be a link. Just click the link to the free webinar.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think we might have actually made a page for you to send it to, which is your sales page. So in this case, did we make a, we made, so send it to the Money Confidence course, not the final offer. The Money Confidence course is the one with the timer that we set for 48 hours.
But see, that's what confused me a little bit. If I send them here to watch the webinar, it already has, and this was the crux of my confusion. If I'm going to have them watch a webinar so I can eventually make them an offer, if they go to this page, the offer and the timer is already there.
Yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that offer, that limited time offer button. And we're going to hide it.
Okay.
Until you get to the point of the offer in your video.
Okay.
And then we'll make it appear.
Okay. So I'll leave the,
so we put it on there because we need it, but we're going to hide it. Once you get the video in, see, I didn't know how long your video would be. I didn't know where your offer was going to show up in that video.
So this is going to be the webinar right here.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. And that's going to be the webinar right there. And then I'll have to change this page. This is the confidence thank you when they sign up for the course, when they eventually sign up for the course.
Yes.
You know, when they actually sign up for it, it's going to go there, but I need to change the copy because this page still says download your freebie.
Yes, correct.
It would actually, so I'd have to refresh the copy to say, thank you for purchasing the course.
This one should basically say, check your email, your login instructions are going to be included in the email.
Right. Okay. That's the language. Okay, good. Yes. Well, there you go. I've got my marching orders, so I'm good. All right. So thanks for taking
you had the framework all dialed in. It was just the content you needed to finish up so we can go through and do a final comb on it.
Right. Like building a house. And when the last carpenter leaves, you got to go in and paint the walls, put on the carpet, drapes, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
All right. Look at me. I'm an interior decorator.
That's awesome.
All right. Thanks for.
I just love the fact that when you started this process, you had a full head of hair.
Oh yeah. Look at me now. Oh, it went from here to down here. Gravity. You win again.
Oh, all right. That's awesome.
Thanks for walking me through that, John.
All right. You got it. All right. Teresa, you've had your hand up there for a bit.
Oh, yes. And Chris, thank you so much for asking technical questions because I've got a boatload as well.
And Chris, you're still sharing the screen.
Oh, there we go. All right. Yeah, you just need to stop share, Chris.
Fantastic. Okay. How long does it, you and I have discussed setting up a separate domain, a custom domain in Kartra.
Yes.
And I did it, but the instructions in Kartra and what GoDaddy has changed their protocol to are two different things. So plus, I think that you redirected a couple of my pages to my big website. So I kind of need your help with the CNAME and the redirect. I did
Okay.
it about 24 hours ago, so I'm still waiting, hoping that GoDaddy will understand my instructions and transport everything over to Kartra.
So here's something with your particular situation that may be different from someone else's. And let me just start from the beginning. When you're talking about DNS records, that's domain name service records.
Okay.
That's what like points everything to say, okay, your email is over here on this server, your website's over here on that server, your Kartra pages are on this other server. So it's like the routing to connect everything on the internet. It's controlled by the DNS records. So when you buy a domain, you set what is called name servers. Name servers are where that control lives in those DNS settings. So with you, you're pointed to me because I host your site.
Right.
So those domain records are sitting on my server, not in GoDaddy. So if you change records in GoDaddy, you're not really doing anything.
Oh.
So that could be.
So you have control. Excellent.
So I'm at the wheel for you on that one.
All
So
righty.
I can do those. I can update those for you. No problem. For everyone else, what we were talking about originally here with Chris is I helped him set up from start to finish in Kartra an entire campaign that's almost done. He just has to put his final touches on it. And then we'll do the final video to do the walkthrough of, okay, here's the completed campaign. And we recorded everything. And we started at the very beginning of Kartra, setting up and configuring Kartra, including those custom domain names. So I literally did a step-by-step video walking through the entire process, and everybody's going to get access to that as soon as I publish it up, which he just sent me the videos. All we're missing is like where I was going to come back after the fact and do a blueprint saying, okay, here's what we're going to build. I just built it out of my head. I didn't have a blueprint. But after the fact, he's going to go in and make a blueprint of what I built for him. And then I'm going to fake it. And I'm going to go back in and say, here's our blueprint. We're going to start in building this thing. and then there will be all the videos of how we did it. And then at the end, we'll do another wrap-up video walking through, okay, let's show you what it does. Let's show you like what the output was. And we'll walk you through the entire campaign. And then anybody that wants that, we can actually clone it and give it to you as a template. So you can import that right into a Kartra account and away you go. So it'll be really, really cool.
Okay, so I've gone through the tutorials in Kartra, and they start out with creating a sequence. And that confused me because I've been putting up these pages.
Well, that's why we did what we did, because Kartra has great tutorial videos. I'm not gonna downplay the quality of their tutorial videos. They're great, but they don't show you how to build a business out of Kartra. They don't show you how to build a campaign, a complete marketing campaign. They show you how to use each individual piece in there, not how to put them all together and run a business. And that's what we did. We did a tutorial of how to use this Kartra framework to actually create a marketing campaign to make money. So that's what's different about what we did. And we did it in a sequence. And I say right in there while I'm doing it, I say right in there, it doesn't matter in what order you do this stuff. There's just pieces to be made. There's work to be done. You can do it in whatever order you want. Like I was going to do it in a particular order that was just in my head. And Chris said, hey, could you do this next? And I'm like, sure, no problem. It doesn't matter. So we just, I just did those pieces next because that's what he wanted to see next. So it was no big deal. We built all the pieces, we connected the dots, and now we have, a full campaign. All he has to do left is just fine tune his copy, make his webinar, plug it in, and some final tweaks, and we're done. So Kartra's tutorial shows you how to do each little individual step, but not how to build it, not what you need to come out with a finished marketing campaign.
Right. Okay. So my technical question, one more, I promise you.
No problem.
Is how do I set up the global header and footer? I've got them configured and I've put the little green button on the bottom of all my pages, but they're not showing up.
Okay. So those are components.
Right.
So when you create new pages inside Kartra, it allows you to set a page, like a global page, like what website this is from. I think they call it website. Like what website does this page belong to?
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a collection of pages that belong to a particular website, you can go into that website and you can assign global assets to that website.
Oh, but you have to do it at the website level.
Yes. When you
Awesome. Okay, that
assign-
answers
yeah.
my question.
Yeah, when you assign those global assets, then they show up on all the pages of that whole site. And then like, let's say you put a footer in there, the footer's on all of your pages. So when 2024 rolls around and you want to update your copyright, you just go ahead and update one of them and away you go. They all update.
Yeah, because it's got all the privacy stuff and whatnot, which is another challenge, but never mind.
Yeah. So there's sections, each section in the page, you have the opportunity to assign that as a global asset to a website.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm really happy to hear that I can do these things in bits and pieces and then
Absolutely.
integrate them, because I don't have the website name yet. The custom domain yet that will be assigned to all those pages.
Yeah. And you can go back and change that. Kartra is, I've been using it now for probably almost 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
It is the easiest system I've ever seen and the most flexible to do.
Sure. It's easy when you know how, John.
Yeah, I have a few layers of knowledge on, about that system, but it really is a flexible, easy to use system. It does take some getting used to. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There's a lot of pieces to it. It's like a Chinese nesting doll. Once you open one box, you've got 3 more inside that, and each one of those has 3 inside of that. But once you get your head wrapped around all the parts and pieces, I think it's probably the best program out there for the level of marketing that we're doing. Like if you go up to, the next level up, it might not quite cut it. But for everything we're going to do, like if you're going to run probably up to a $10 million business, it works perfectly. And unless you're in something real specialized and you require things that it just is not, equipped for, it'll work for, 99% of people.
Okay. Now I have another question.
Okay.
Cold emails.
Okay.
I'll be real quick, Woody, I promise. If I have a group of people.
Sorry, Bomb. Don't worry about me.
All right, honey. If I have a bunch of email addresses that I'm going to send and who are not on my Kartra list.
Yes.
So say like my clients, do I have to put them into Kartra manually and then send them an email from Kartra? Or is it better for me simply to send them an email from another email box and have them opt into Kartra?
That is the best way to do it.
Okay.
The best way is to create an opt-in box and then send out to all of your customers and all of your past prospects and all that, and just tell them you have a new system. You would love to keep communicating with them, and maybe even give them something of high value for doing this, for taking this action. Maybe say, hey, you know, I've got a new system. For everyone that joins and follows me forward, I'm going to reward you by giving you the XYZ PDF download, you know, whatever that might be. And then you send that out to everybody. I would send it out to everybody probably like 7 times. I would send that email to that cold list 7 times to make sure that I gave them ample opportunity to make the shift. And anybody after 7 times, if you make that offer in 7 different ways at 7 different times, and they don't take you up on it, they're not.
They don't love me anymore.
Yeah, just leave them behind and get new people.
All righty. Yeah, that's for sure.
Hey, John, would that be an automated, would you create an automated email sequence?
You could do that. Yeah, like if your email list was in, say, what's that one? It's the monkey one.
Oh, MailChimp.
MailChimp, yeah. And let's say you were in MailChimp or Aweber or you know, any Constant Contact, any kind of email service, and you wanted to move them over, just send the email to them from that service.
Okay.
And so you can set up probably an automated sequence to go out automatically and do it over 7 days or, you know, 7 weeks or whatever you want to do.
So that if someone does opt in after 2 emails, they'll be taken off the list of the 7 email follow-up sequence. Oh, see, I was thinking you could do it in Kartra.
Yeah, not necessarily.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
Because the 2 are not connected. So
That's
that won't necessarily automatically take them off.
You know, yeah, I did that when I moved everybody from one shopping cart over, and I just manually went over and took them out because, you know, there's no way to connect the 2. But, you know, it's difficult, but your whole objective, think of your end goal in mind. You're trying to get Kartra and not be using 2 services. So minor thing to go over and hit uncheck for a couple people.
Yeah. You should always have an unsubscribe in any email that you send out anyway. So you could literally put in there, hey guys, I'm going to be sending this out like 7 times. So once you go over to the other list, go ahead and unsubscribe here, but only here, just unsubscribe here. Be very clear about that. And in fact, one of the tricks that I believe I showed in setting up your video was in Kartra. When you set up your email template, Kartra automatically puts an unsubscribe on every email that goes through its system, just for compliancy. But what I always do is I put like 4 or 5 returns, spacebar returns in there to push that thing down. Because I want it in there, but I don't want it like right at the bottom where my calls to action are. Because sometimes people get click happy and they'll click that unsubscribe and they don't even know they unsubscribed. There's been quite a few people that are in this program that have unsubscribed, so they're not getting the call notifications. And when I look, it's like, hey, you unsubscribed. And they're like, well, no, I didn't. And it was because they clicked that button thinking it was something else. So I push that down. I give that some space between. Like if they really want to unsubscribe, I want them to hunt for it at the bottom. So, all right, Linda, and then we'll hit Woody. You're muted out, Linda. There you go.
Quick question. You have a class, a webinar on Monday, and it says ready to master e-commerce selling.
Yes.
But it has AI and marketing. Is that, are you doing a different take on?
No, I'm doing that for Alignable, and they wanted me to kind of mend AI into e-commerce and show people how to use AI to sell more stuff with e-commerce. So they kind of added that AI tagline into it.
Okay.
But it's
So-
basically it's a webinar about selling online, e-commerce stuff. Very generic, it's not going to be specific to anything. It's just kind of a broad overview.
Okay. All right. If I register just to listen and I'm unable to go, would I get the recording?
Yes, you can get that through Alignable.
Okay. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you.
Sure. All right, Mr. Woody.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm here with Michael Jenkins, one of my associates. And we want to do a little show and tell of what's happening. So take it away, Mike.
Sure. So I guess Woody just wants me to show you the Gateway to Joy homepage, and just get some feedback on it. So let me pull it up and then I'll share the screen here.
Okay, so we're not doing Forbidden Elvis today.
Well, Forbidden Elvis we could show as well. That one's basically done. Forbidden Elvis though is like a pitch page for specifically like to get a record label that we've been talking to more information about it. So we can go over that real quick and get some feedback, but that's not like, I know you guys are geared more towards memberships and that sort of thing. So this is Forbidden Elvis is not quite that.
Well, John,
That's
Well,
open to anything.
Elvis was a great Kartra project.
Well, then I'll start with that, and I want to hear your opinion on that, John, because I want to see kind of how you see that going if we do decide to do a membership with that.
Okay, sure.
Some thoughts that I could maybe muse over. Let me share this.
Let's see. I actually have it up here so I can
Oh, great.
share this one. All right, so we got Forbidden Elvis here. Unlock the secret stash of songs the Colonel tried to bury. That is really awesome. That is a great headline.
Thanks.
So anybody that is like in tune with that, they're going to know who the Colonel is. So you're speaking a language that they're going to get, they're going to understand. And I think they're going to get really drawn into that.
Mm.
Now, read more is weak.
Mhm.
Like read more is not the right text for that button. What is behind that button? What do we get when we click that? Okay, so all that button does is just scroll you down. So I wouldn't even have that button on there if that's all it did.
So just kind of remove the graphic and just move the text up and kind of start it there.
What I would do is whatever is on this page, is there something behind this? Is there more than just this one page?
Not yet. No, this is like I was saying, it's kind of like a pitch deck at this point.
Okay. If there's something on this page that is unique and no one's ever seen it before, and it's like the secret thing like the Colonel had that no one's ever seen, like this has been for our eyes only so far.
Mhm.
I would make that button, click here to see that, whatever that thing is, and then get them to opt in. Because the whole point of this isn't to sell something. It's not a buy or die. You want to build a list. And then you cultivate that list to make your sales long term. Never push people into a buy or die scenario, because die is going to be the predominant force. So you don't want to just push people here and get them here to die.
Okay.
You want to get them on a list, cultivate them, give them great stuff, build a relationship, and then make your offer. So that's what I would do right there. Somehow work that into that opt-in. And then the rest, I get what you're doing here. You're trying to get a label to sign you. So giving them all this stuff is probably the right thing to do. But you could take this same page after the fact when you're done with that, and you could have this be an intrigue thing. Maybe pull some of the content off of this page, even put it on another page that they get by opting in.
Sure. That's a good idea.
Make that a thank you page. But this is, this is cool. Anybody that's into Elvis is probably going to just eat this alive.
Great.
And the send to the friend is cool because you can allow them to get that free thing too. And build the list. So get in touch. That's for your label. And get in touch again. It's a weak call to action.
Okay.
figure out what this label is going to want, why they want it, and then make a specific offer to them.
That's good advice. Yeah.
Like be our exclusive, right? You know, whatever that language is that you're trying to get them to take an action,
Mhm.
you're giving them first right of refusal here.
Because air destroys food in your
So make sure they get that.
You won't have that problem. I have fabulous burgers. Yeah, this is made. Are you familiar with
All right, there we go.
Someone
Muted
needs
Daryl.
to get muted.
Yeah. he did.
Yeah, I muted him out. So, but that's what I would do. Figure out, you know, like what you're really trying to get from the label, and then make this action oriented toward that.
Well, you know, the gold in this is that, you know, I inherited my dad's record collection, and we're reopening his business. And we have a bunch of acetates that were made for Elvis. He did 2 of them that were in the movies that's shown on this page. But you know, what we want to do is leak this music out through the membership site, and the record company wants to make vinyl of my acetates.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to give people actual records as well as get them into the membership site.
Yeah. So this is basically a nostalgia deal.
Yeah.
You know, so this would be perfect for a membership area where you could release stuff. You could like trickle stuff out every month and keep them paying for access to it, because every month they would get something new. And if they're into it, you know, if that's their thing, they could potentially stay with you a long, long time.
Cool. So that's something I was thinking about, is like, if we did it that way, let's say we start today, we get people to sign up. Every month we give them maybe 1 or 2 new songs. And then if somebody signs up a few months down the road, do they start at square one and they get the first song the first month and the second song the second month?
Yes. In Kartra, you can do that. You can set up each different page, and those pages could be time released. So like each month, every 30 days, you know, and you can do this. Like, let's say they sign up on the 3rd. So that for them, the new release could be every 3rd of the month.
Okay.
You know, that signs up on the 18th. That's their release date. So
So
that way everyone gets the same experience.
I got it. So then the page is specific to, like, they would have to log in to see it. And like you say, time released. So their account's only going to see it a month after they signed up or what have you.
Yes. And what I would do to keep them paying is every month when the new page comes out with the new stuff, I would seed what's coming next month.
Okay.
That way they know it, they're waiting for it, they're anticipating it. And if they cancel, they ain't getting it.
That makes sense.
So yeah, that would be the way I would do that. Keep the anticipation high.
Great.
And another part of this is that we've got a screenwriter that's really excited about this story. There's a story connected to this. If you read the copy, but basically my dad wrote a couple songs for Elvis, and they had an adventure together, and not a gay adventure. My dad turned him on to a girl, and the colonel flipped out because she was married to a black man.
Yeah. Well, you know how Craig tells all his backstage stories, and everybody is just like glued to him when he tells those stories? You could basically have the same thing here. You know, you telling stories about your dad and interaction with Elvis, those stories are just like what Craig has from his backstage years. You know, they could be provocative, they could be, you know, outlandish, but it would keep people absolutely glued to, you know, to your membership.
So like every month there's like a song and a story either to go with it, or just kind of like move the whole timeline forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could even have like just like what Craig does, you know, he's got his normal membership, and then he's got a mastermind group, and then he's got an exclusive mastermind group. You could do, you know, like a lifetime. Somebody could pay several $1,000s for lifetime access to your membership, and they just get everything. You
Cool.
know, and then maybe you do an annual conference where everybody gets together and shares stories, and you have an Elvis impersonator come out and entertain them.
Yeah.
And everyone else gets to pay for that, but the lifetime people get free access to all that shit.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
So
Also, we have the ability, since we own the music, that people can actually sing on the record.
oh, okay. Yeah,
Without
same with Elvis.
So, you know, we could sell this to Elvis impersonators that want to be the first in their city.
Uh-huh.
Elvis's forbidden music, the music Colonel Tom forbade him to do.
Yeah. Hell, you could actually, I mean, if this winds up being a big thing for you, you could actually work with an impersonator and do a Vegas stage show. I mean, you could have a whole deal around this. You could cut a license deal with MGM Grand, or, you know, whatever hotel Elvis was exclusive with. I don't think it was MGM. I think it was the Hilton or something like that. But go to them and cut some kind of a deal, and, you know, you could really make something out of that.
Cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I've worked in the music industry, so yeah, entertainment. Like if you get somebody like to, because I haven't heard the songs, but if you get someone who can script out a show, what that would look like, because kind of that, because you know that if you go to MGM Grand or Hilton, either one, they're like, okay, but they don't script out shows, so that's somebody else that comes in. So if you can get someone to script out a show that kind of looks like maybe the Michael Jackson Experience, or just for example, and then you could fit a couple of impersonators to try it out and be like, hey, this is what I got. This is what we can do. That's because they like packages brought before them where if they could just feed it money, they like that better. So that'd be kind of cool. This stuff was interesting.
Yeah, you put the whole package together and just spoon feed them. And basically, if I think it was the Hilton, if the Hilton, if you pitch the Hilton and they don't like it, say, hey, no problem. You know, I came to you first because you were the Elvis Hotel, but, you know, MGM's got a bigger venue. I'll pitch it to them if you don't want it. Just put the screws to them. That's the way I do it. So.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you. Any
Uh,
questions?
and one other thing with Elvis's estate, I'm wondering how much shit they're going to give me for. I mean, we're telling some nasty secrets here. You know that. You know, when I first got the publishing, the master publisher told me, he goes, we're always so concerned about Elvis's image.
Yeah.
There's a show currently on Netflix called Elvis Presley Secret Agent. And they just say they dropped the F-bomb. They and it was licensed by Priscilla, who just died. So
yeah, you know, you've got such a time gap in here that, you know, a lot of rights and, you know, and all that stuff falls off. There's certain time frames where that's applicable. So I don't know if maybe you're outside that. You might want to find out from legal counsel, you know, at some point, what you can do, what you can't do. Maybe if there's somebody that, you know, that's still trying to protect his image, and the people that really cared about that are all gone at this point, maybe they're ready to cut a license deal to let the cat out of the bag. Who knows? There's
I think it can go either way, because if you can frame it that it's like reigniting interest and bringing him back to the forefront and like the center of the conversation, that can help all the other attached properties to the Elvis name rise, popularity, and all that.
Yeah, and
I got something for you.
I would venture to say too, because the big Elvis movie came out last year, I would say, you know, maybe that came out then because of that time frame, because there hasn't really been any Elvis movies because of possibly that protective umbrella, and maybe that thing's closed up now.
Right. Yeah.
I got something for you.
Yeah, go ahead, Lauren.
Yeah, so there's a Michael Gladwell has a podcast, I think, called Revisionist History. He did like 2 or 3 episodes on Elvis, and it wasn't exactly flattering, and no one came after him. So whatever is in this thing, because I haven't seen it, but I did listen to every single episode of the particular podcast with Elvis, you know, his habits and everything else from his life, even looking at the age of people, what he was dating and stuff like that. You might want to check that out, because if they didn't come after him, he's a highly well-known author and commentator.
Yeah.
So I think because he didn't say too many flattering things in that particular regard of his personal life, I think he should be potentially okay, because you can reference that. But also, yeah, the Elvis movie just came out, so
No,
you can check, which I think you might be okay.
yeah, I'll look it up right now. Thank you for that.
No
Yeah,
problem.
I would say time is on your side on this one.
For sure.
I
Yeah.
want to know the secrets. I'm curious. I like music history.
And the bigger thing that's on your side though is money. You know, all this stuff is all money driven.
Yeah.
So, you know, if there's somebody that's protecting that image, they're protecting it for the purpose of money. So if you can weave yourself in to show them how they're going to make more money, you might get a changed narrative on, you know, what they're willing to protect and what they're not.
Yep. Like the TV show he was talking about, you know, they're paying these things enough money to drop the F-bomb and they don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's so cool. All right.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for your thoughts. And
Yeah. Well, thank you for that trip down memory lane. That was awesome.
well, also on this thing are 2 of the forbidden songs that if you click on it, right, Michael?
Yeah, there's little previews, the player. So one thing I noticed on your computer though, the audio player, maybe I need to look into, because it's harder to see on your computer. It shows up as black on black, but like on my computer, it's like a white bubble. It's really noticeable. So I need to look at the CSS behind that.
Okay. Just so you know, I was showing that on Firefox.
Okay. That could be it too.
So that was and Firefox sometimes gives you a different experience than Chrome. I actually prefer the Firefox experience to Chrome, but sometimes I'll have to use Chrome because Firefox is not compatible with some stuff. So
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I know how to change the styling and everything, so I'll do that. But that was good that I saw it on yours, and now I know that that's an issue, because you probably didn't see the play buttons for the music, right?
I did, but they were small, like you said, and they were
Yeah.
kind of hidden, but I did see them. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Cool
Thanks.
stuff. Yeah. Whenever we're developing, we try and develop for Firefox, and we found if we can get it to work in Firefox, it works in everything.
Well, that's a good tip then. I'll definitely I'll put Firefox on my computer so I can check it there as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, thank you.
All right. Okay. Anybody else here wants to pop in? No
I'll give
other.
you a quick update.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Let's see. I started the cold email campaign, so far we're at 39% open rate so far. So that isn't too bad.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's from the search AI.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the people that have had experience with cold email, that's about what we're seeing. That's, you know, that 30 to 40% open rate on the first round. So
Okay, so I'm right on top. Yeah, so that's what we got so
Yeah.
far. So we'll continue to go through it.
that's awesome. Also, how many times are you emailing them? Are you just hitting them one time, or are you following up as well?
Oh no, I got a whole sequence in there. So this is
Okay.
the first email is about testing out with a 6 email sequence for this one.
Okay.
I talked to a couple of CBD Delta 8 gummies folks, and we're gonna do some testing with them as well.
Okay, cool. When you got your percentage, was that off the first email or is that off the whole sequence?
Oh no, this is off the first email.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you're right on the money then. I think with the whole sequence, you should be able to increase that too. So
Yeah, as we go along, so just testing out, see we're hit about 39%, which is above like across average and stuff like that. And just
do you have any numbers past the open rate, like opt-in rates or anything like that, close ratios?
Not yet. This is a new sequence. This is a brand new
Okay.
one.
So too soon. Okay, cool.
Yeah, too soon. I'll see in like a couple of weeks, see where we go.
Awesome. That's really cool. Good job.
Thank you. Because I have no idea what other people are doing or what's happening. So I'm just like, well, this is what I got so far. First email kicked off.
Yeah.
I'm
I
just kind
think-
of going from there.
I think a lot of people jumped in just before they were actually ready. And, I mean, it's exciting. You want to try stuff out and you think, oh, well, what if it's ready, but I think once they see, they realize the flaw that for any kind of traffic source, you have to have a sequence in place. You've got to have a way for them to, to grab their attention, for them to opt in, for you to start communicating and creating that relationship. I have one email that Perry sent out this week was this guy. I mean, he tests stuff like a gorilla. And I see stuff from him all the time and it never ceases to amaze me. Here's his subject line. The big fat bouncer threw me out like a Frisbee and my mom ... That's the subject line of his email. I'm like, what the hell is that? And what does that mean? So then he goes into the email. It doesn't address you. It doesn't say like, hi, John, or anything like that. So after that subject line, let me tell you that one again. The big fat bouncer threw me out like a Frisbee and my mom ... That's the subject. Like, damn well I'm opening that, right? and then the email, here's how it reads. Maybe I was drunk and in a biker bar with loud music and a bunch of crazy chicks about to fight when I decided to be a hero. The first lesson is don't be a hero in a biker bar. Lesson number 2 is that you were drawn into this email because of a crazy story, and I could spin it into any other pitch right now because I have your attention. Get it? Want to learn how I did it? Click here to find out how. And it has an arrow saying my framework.
Yeah, that was nice. High curiosity, high story, draw you in.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking to you guys about last week. And then here he turns around and does it. So that's, that's an example of just some crazy ass shit to get somebody's attention. And he's showing you, none of that was true. He never even referenced, and my mom ... There was no mention of his mom in the email. It was simply bullshit just to grab your attention. And he said right there, now that I have your attention, I could spin this into anywhere I want to go, right? You get it? You understand? And here's the framework for how to do it.
Isn't that clickbait?
It is total clickbait. But you know why people use clickbait?
It works.
It works. That's why they use it. You might not like it. You might think it sucks and you might hate people that do it, but it works. And that's why they do it. Like bulk email. I guarantee you everybody on this call here hates bulk email. We hate spam. We hate having to clear our email box out. But ask the question, what if that's the case, why would they do it? Right? Why, after all these years, we're moving into decades. We're moving into our 3rd decade of spam. If it's that bad, why do they still do it? Because it works.
Still getting you. We have that $10 million lottery winnings we'd like to send you if you just send us your banking information. That's still out there.
Well, that,
Ever was.
and that's a scam. I don't want to really promote anybody to do scams, but bulk email works, you know, in general, it just works. You know, I don't want to promote anybody to actually do scam stuff, but you know, this crazy stuff using clickbait, using crazy subject lines, it works. You know, you see it on YouTube. If any of you have ever gone onto YouTube, you'll know, you'll see the clickbait, and then you'll click on it, and it's like there's nothing related to what you clicked on in that video. It's just, you see it as a total waste of your time, and that is clickbait. Doesn't mean that you have to use it that way. Perry's using it in a way that he knows who he's sending this to, right? He knows that we're all business owners. He knows we want to get good results, and he's using something crazy to get our attention on something that's going to help us. So if you're using clickbait for that purpose, I say, hell yeah, use it. Let me learn how you did that, because I want to do it too. But, you know, if you're using clickbait for the wrong purpose, that's like getting somebody to look at something they don't want to look at. And there's no reason that any of us should ever want to do, or even want to, you know, do that or want to do that. That's, you know, that's just, you know, a shitty deal. So,
It should be
all right.
amazing, especially with the sort of CBD gummies folks, because they have very little places where they can market, and where they can market is extremely expensive. So like, I've talked to one, he was like, you could do it. You think you could do that? I was like, yeah, we like, there's plenty of searches. We can grab the list. I'm not concerned about that.
Yeah.
And you know, because as I told them, it's like in that market, there's no brand loyalty. There's no, all people only buy, you know, Tide XXXD8 gummies. That's not how it works. Whoever gets in front of them first,
Yeah.
or first purchase, they'll just buy it. And then after the first or second time they try it, that's when they'll be like, well, I like this company a little bit more, but I'll still buy everybody else's stuff too.
Yeah. Especially price too. You know, you hook them with a price, get them in, and, you know, now you can market to them.
Yeah.
That's happened in the real world. I don't know how many times have you gone in for a loss leader into a store where they send out an ad and, hey, come in for the discounted whatever. And then you get in there and you realize, that's a piece of crap. And you wind up buying, you know, a bunch of other good stuff, and you've spent thousands of dollars by the time you leave. You know, if you want a real good example of that, just buy yourself a boat and go into a marine store.
I'm trying to get myself to the point where, you know, I'm trying to get a ranch, and we're gonna see how this works. But a boat sounds fun too.
I'll go into a marine store looking for a stainless steel screw, and I'll come out with $1,000 bill just because there's so much cool stuff in there.
That happens at Costco too.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
You,
John,
of course, you need 24 cans of tomato sauce. You know,
Yeah.
just do.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of these stores, Costco doesn't, well, they kind of do. Their stores are designed to make you go through like a maze to get what you want. You know, the good stuff's always way down on the end cap. So you have to go all the way down the aisle, and then you're going to, you know, you're not going to come up the same aisle because you already saw that stuff, right? So you just loop around, and then you go up the next aisle, and you're just throwing shit in the cart as you go. So yeah, Libby's right. You get to the checkout stand, and it's like, how the hell did I get $500 worth of ketchup?
Yeah, I'm guilty.
John, the system keeps lowering my hand. I have a couple questions here I'd like to get to when you get a minute.
Yeah, go ahead. We're ready for you.
Okay, the first thing, Chris, I don't know if you noticed, but I was really looking forward to, and I noticed that unfortunately didn't make it by Friday, but you got them up Saturday, and I went through them, and of the 4 videos, video 2, the first 10 minutes of video 2 is video 1. I don't know if you caught that or not, but I thought I'd let you know that so you can re-edit that. I wish I liked what there was, but I wish there was 10 times more than that. The whole thing was less than an hour, John. So you're right about what you got
They're-
set up, you got done in an hour. So that was really wonderful.
Well, actually, that's not what it was. Chris had done some initial edits and sent those, and I thought it was the whole thing, so I loaded it up, but it wasn't. It's only a fraction. There's actually 11 videos, and he's got them all cleaned up now. So later today, I'll load all of them up for you, and you'll have all 11.
Oh, well, that is wonderful then, because the first four, even with the one little glitch, they were very, very helpful, and I liked them a lot. So thank you for that. John, I was wondering on the $2 lead program, one thing that occurred to me is that, okay, when you turn it on, it goes on and it starts throwing leads in your list real time, and you can start sending out real time emails for people that are currently online doing the searching that qualifies them to be in the $2 lead program anyway. I've not heard you say, and I'm asking what seems to me a real important thing. Are we going to be able to say, okay, turn this on between 9 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Because that's when I'm going to be online. That's when I'm going to want to send out my emails. I don't want to turn it on like you did the first time at midnight, because don't think that I'm going to be available during midnight if someone wants to book a call and talk or whatever. Is that feature of when they're going to pull the leads and feed them into your list going to be part of it? And if not, it needs to go on the wish list.
Yeah, it's already on the wish list. It's not going to be ready for the first rollout, but it is definitely on the wish list for sure.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Last week you said you've been reading a lot of emails, so I just submitted an email to get. Are you still reading emails? Am I going to be able to get you to look at my email and see if I'm heading in the right direction?
Oh yeah, no, I go through all emails.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. And the
Sometimes
last one
takes me a little longer than others, but I get through them.
Well, some emails are longer than others, so that makes perfect sense. The other thing is, and this is completely off topic for here, but I'm going to ask it anyway. One of the things that you said is you managed to catch that 30 seconds that the guy on XRP put online, says, this is the last time I'm attending this meeting and I won't be a trillionaire, kind of a thing. One thing you've never said is when that next meeting is going to be.
The next meeting for Davos, I believe, is February of 2024.
Well, that gives us a better idea. I've also noticed now that there's a lot more stuff about cryptos. The drumbeat about crypto is bullshit is going up, and so is the stuff about the 12 banks. I think they just said that got their credit ratings reduced, and there's another 10 on the. So they're already beginning to now shake the tree on the banking system. So I kind of feel like things are warming up. And the last question I have is, why do you think when you've got people online arguing about at length that, can XRP ever even see $50 a share? And they're making all these big, long things. And I'm curious as to how that squares with, and how did you get to the number that you got to, what you think XRP is going to do? If you can do that, you do it here. I appreciate it.
Sure. There's a lot of people that love to talk. They love to take the podium, mostly just to hear their head rattle. And you have to consider the source. Where do they get their information? The price on all crypto right now is purely speculative. There's no real value really attached to any of it yet. And the only way that real true value is going to get attached to any of it is when it gets adopted and goes in to become a utility. That's where the real true value in crypto is going to happen. That hasn't happened yet. So all the prices on everything from Dogecoin to Bitcoin and everything in between is all purely speculative right now. So what I'm doing, when I look at this, I look at it from a very logical perspective of what is each one of these made for? Do I believe it's going to be used in the future? Do I believe it's going to survive the mass slaughter that's about to happen? And if it does get used in the future, how is it going to get used and what's it going to be based its value on? So that's the way I look at it. Now, that said, the people that I'm following and listening to, they're talking about core values of reality, not fantasy. And they're saying the truth of the matter is, okay, it's going to be used this way. And in utility, like for XRP as an example, the utility of XRP is to tokenize money and be able to cross-border payment money. So they're taking the money of all countries and making an interoperability token that will transfer one currency to another instantaneously at almost no cost. So for it to do that, you have to take all that currency on both sides, put a value to it, and the value of the token has to equal that. And if you do that, that math does not come up to $50. That math comes up to tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. $50 doesn't work. The math doesn't work. You know, you can't take, can't take 10 plus 10 and make it 2. And that's what's happening with the guys that say, well, this can't even reach $10 or this can't reach $50. The math doesn't work. The other thing that they're looking at, they're not looking at it properly. They're looking at market cap, and they don't understand. This is a whole different thing. This is something they've never seen before. Market cap is like looking backwards at our financial system. Looking backwards, market cap was a very important value. That's how things were valued, on market cap. Well, looking forward, market cap isn't going to mean squat in the crypto space. It's going to be utility driven. So it's just misunderstanding. It's, people talk before they really understand. My dad always said, make sure your brain is in gear, or make sure your brain's running before you engage your lips. So that's what happens. You got a lot of lips running and no brain engaged.
That's a very interesting thing. So the point, the differentiation, the thing that's different about XRP than anything else is that it is not a vanity whatever. It is a utility that is eventually going to be used for trade, for moving money around. And if you want to move money around, then you've got to be able to move the money around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and you can't say, here's an XRP coin that's going to move this money over here, and somehow it's going to drag the money along like a tin can on a string behind it. It's got to do it real time. If it's going to do it real time and it's going to do it at no cost, you can't have all those other mechanisms muddying the water and getting it. It's got to be one-to-one. Otherwise, it doesn't track correctly. If I'm kind of understanding that from a novice point of view.
Yeah, it has to represent the value of what it's tokenizing. So that's what XRP is going to do. XRP is going to tokenize money. It's going to tokenize money and allow it to be sent cross-border instantaneously at almost no cost. So it has to be high value for that utility to function. And $50 is not high value when you're talking about all the money in the world.
That is, you're right, because all the people are talking about market caps, and they are currently using all of the current traditional financial metrics for trying to determine valuation. And what they aren't saying is what you've just pointed out, is that that's true for all of them except this one, because this one was created for a completely different purpose, and the purpose it was created for inevitably leads to what you're talking about happening, because it can't not happen, given the utility that it has been designed to do.
Yeah, and this is the same thing. If we roll back in history, when technology comes in, the first thing is to fight it. right? Like when email came around, I mean, people hated the idea of email, sending email on a computer. They hated it. And now they embrace it. They love it. And the same thing with e-commerce. When the idea first came out of putting your credit card online to make a purchase, people hated it. They said it was a scam. They said it was evil. They said it was fraud. They said, I'm never putting my credit card online, right? They just didn't understand what the future looked like. This is
that was what Diners Club did. They said Diners Club sent out these little plastic cards and people could use these plastic cards for buying stuff. And they're going, what the hell is this plastic card all about? Now all there are plastic cards.
Yeah, it's whenever somebody is bashing something, it's generally, I mean, not always, but in a lot of cases, it's they don't understand the future and they hate the idea of things changing. So they fight it, they bash it, and they've got free soapboxes now called YouTube and Twitter or X and, you know, all these social media platforms where everybody can be an expert. So you just need to decide, you know, which expert are you going to follow and do they make sense?
Yeah, I just heard another guy talking about how AI is a fad that's just going to come and go.
Yeah. Well, we had somebody on this call that was very argumentative about that when I said, you know, what I said about AI. And, you know, he was one of those that, you know, I think he dropped out of this whole group because of that. He didn't like that idea that AI is going to change the future. So
He might still be paying cash at the grocery store or writing a check.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I feel sorry for him because I realized, like, when I think back of my beginning in commercial photography, had I not accepted, when I first saw Photoshop, had I not accepted the fact that what I was doing was about to change, and if I would have fought it, I can't even imagine where I would be right now. I certainly wouldn't be here.
Not on this call, that's right.
No, I mean, I don't even know if I'd still be walking this side of the grass.
One of the things that I am curious about, John, is that, and I'm not trying to gore any sacred cows here or anything like this, but one of the things that I see that you're talking about, and the whole purpose of this call is to go over all the things that we've gone over on this call. And yet on the last call, it was the first time, I think on the last call, I caught something that you said that I realized you'd said on earlier calls, was that most of your income comes from affiliates, which means that most of your income doesn't come from doing what we're talking about on this call. Most of your income comes from something that I've never heard you talk about as a focus of these calls. Is what you're doing is you've created products that you then get affiliates to sell for you. And
Correct.
The conversation about creating products hasn't made it to here, even though that really is based on that last statement, at least the way I understand it, which is maybe wrong, that actually product creation is another big viable way of doing it, and actually the way that you're currently doing it, if I understood your comment correctly. Am I tripping over myself here, or am I getting this accurate or whatever?
You heard right. I don't know if your interpretation was right, but you heard right. The majority of my income, and I'm talking a vast majority of my income, comes one way or another from affiliates. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm selling their products and they're paying me.
No, the other way around. I'm talking about the other way around, that you're the one that's created the products and they're selling your products for you. Isn't that?
But it's both ways. I've got affiliates that are paying me for selling their products as well. Like Kartra, for instance, every person that I put into Kartra, I get $40 a month. So if I put 1,000 people into Kartra, that's $40,000 a month income mailbox money that I don't have to touch or think about. It just comes in. Right. So that's an affiliate where it's pumping money to me for me making sales for them. Now I do have my own products, like this call is one, and I have never spent a penny to build this membership. I have gone out to other people, done webinars for them, focused on their members, showing them how this community can be of value to them. The sales are made and I pay those affiliates for those sales. So every product and service that I have created myself, whether it's Site Pop, whether it's SEO services, whether it's the ACT protocol, everything I've ever created, I have never gone out. Well, I've paid for some traffic just to play and, you know, do what have you. But the majority of the income of the sales from the products that I've built myself have come from affiliates promoting me. So I don't know if that clears it up or not, but it's
Well, it sounds like product creation is something that we should really have, you know,
and that's
not drop what we're doing and go out and do that, but keep our antennae up that, oh, wow, that's a product I could create that would work. And then I could create an affiliate program and do that sort of stuff and go down that road.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I just built with Chris. I mean, we took a product that he has created. It's a digital product with a membership to it. And we took Kartra and we built a wrapper around it to deliver his product. So it's exactly the same thing that I've done. Kartra makes it so easy and nimble for me to change directions. Like when I first started talking about crypto, here's a perfect example of a product built out of thin air and promoted by affiliates. My interest in crypto was very high a couple of years ago. I started talking about it, kind of sharing information about it, and I realized, hey, people want in on this. People want what I know. So I thought, hey, I could build a membership around this and I could teach people what I know about crypto and help them potentially become very wealthy in the shortest amount of time frame I've ever seen before. So I didn't build it. I just thought, hey, this is what I could do. I reached out to a couple of influencers and I said, hey, do you think your members would be interested in this? I know you're interested because you've asked me about it yourself. Would your members be interested in this? And do you think they would pay to become part of the group? I'll give you free access if you want to promote it. And I'll also pay you 50% of anybody that you send me that gets in on it. I got 2 influencers that said, hell yeah, we'll do that. So I did a webinar, I sold it. And once I saw how many people bought it, then I went into Kartra and I built it. One day it was built, delivered, done. Just like that, out of thin air. And I think on the initial sales, I think I brought in like $20,000. It wasn't a lot, you know, it wasn't a big membership that I went out to. I wasn't looking for something huge, but it was like $20,000 in sales. I paid the affiliates 10 grand of it. And then it's created, you know, affiliate income too, because like I talk about all the products I'm using. I trust capital. That's how you get a Roth IRA with crypto in it. I share that. I use my affiliate link. Everyone in the membership that signed up for that, they paid me a commission. You know, Bitsgap, the software I use to show how to trade crypto and make money with it. Monthly commission. So I made money on all angles, all directions. I did just like what I talk about with the woman with the pregnancy dresses, the maternity dresses. You create a relationship that lasts a lifetime. Guaranteed, when XRP goes to the moon, I'm going to be offering financial services. Not me, but I'll be making the connection and I'll be making money off of directing traffic through affiliate links, because everybody's going to want to know what I'm going to do with that pile of money. And they're going to all want to do the same thing. So I'm going to do the legwork. I'm going to figure out, the best places, the best vendors, the best things that I can do and the deals I can cut. And then I'll share those with the group and I'll make money off doing that. So it's not that I'm not doing what I'm talking about. I absolutely have been doing this since day one. And I talk about it constantly. I show examples of, hey, I've done this. Like this group right here was made out of thin air. None of this was even nothing more than a thought in my head. I presented it to a group of female photographers to show them how to do their own SEO. And, when I told Barb what I was going to do, I'm going to sell these people an 8-week course. And she looked at me kind of funny. She goes, you don't have an 8-week course. And I'm like, that's right. And I'm not going to build it either unless they buy it. So I had no idea if it would work or not. I showed up, I gave a presentation. I was totally upfront, totally honest. I said, I'm more expensive than you guys can afford. I'm going to tell you that right up front going in, and I'm not going to offer you my services because of that. But I'm going to show you what I do. I'm going to show you how it works. And I'm going to offer to teach you how to do it yourself so you can get the benefit and you can actually afford to do this. That's the way I presented it. I gave them the presentation. I made the offer at the end, and the vast majority of the room ordered it. And I'm like, oh shit, now I got to figure out how am I going to deliver this? Because I had never done a screen capture video before. I had never built a membership site before. I had never done any of this stuff. But I sold it. And then I'm like, I gave myself a few weeks to figure it out. I said, I'll start delivering it, on this day, and just did it.
Well, John, that really clears up a lot. That's really helpful. And yeah, now I have a better idea how all those parts and pieces fit together. And I think that you answered this question last week when you were talking about working with Chris, and he had a map and you said very kindly, thank you for the map, kind of dropped it off to the side of the table and then jumped in to do it. And I've never heard you talk about, well, you've talking about sales campaign, you're talking about sales, you've talked about all the sales and make money part of it, but you've never talked about what you need to have in place before you do this is a marketing plan that includes all of the things that a company needs to include, not just doing a project. Because my background is in real estate. And so I'm very good at doing projects. They're all one-off, but it's never been a company that when created has all the things that a company does have to be included. Otherwise, you, by definition, don't have a company.
Yeah, see, I don't.
If you're going to do that, most people talk about marketing plans to do that. And I've never heard you talk about that. And I just don't know if you've done it a different way or how that works.
Yeah, if you handed me a marketing plan, I would do exactly what I did with Chris's map. I'd throw it to the side and say, how do we make money? I don't give a shit about any of that. It's like, if I can see clearly how I'm going to make money, I lean forward and start moving in that direction. If I don't, I won't take another step forward. I'll just keep, pivoting my head till I see something that's worth going forward with. I do not stress out about the details. I don't need all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. If I see how to make money, I'm going to go make that money and figure it out on the way.
Yeah, and the key part, if I'm not mistaken, though, is that there's among one of the universal laws my wife discovered is that action comes off at 90 degrees to the applied action. Like in pool, you don't shoot the pool ball towards the pocket. You have to figure out the angles so that that angle comes off at the correct direction to actually get the ball into the pocket. You talk about it like how to make money, but it's all from the position of service, helping people. Because when you help people, that's when the money happens. Not going after the money, going after the people to help the people is what creates the money.
But see, that's what I look at. That's what I look for, is I look for where are those opportunities. If I see a pool of people that need help and I can position myself to help them, I know I'm going to make money.
Yeah, well, I think that's my problem, is that when I've been writing my emails, what's dawned on me is that as I'm thinking about how do I make money on this thing, not about how to, my focus is not totally on how do I help these people, knowing that the money will come on. And I think I tripped over my own private parts, not forgetting that for the time being. And now I'm having to reshift that yeah, if you find the right people and you serve them, that's where the money comes from. It's not about going after the money. And that's what you just actually said just now, is that you find the people that need the help and you help the people, and that's where the money comes from.
Yeah, but see, that's what I see as money. When I'm looking, the goggles I'm looking through, it filters out all the rest. If I see an opportunity, that's what I see as opportunity. A lot of people that need help, a market sector that needs help. I've got specialized knowledge or information that I can share to help them. Then that matches up to me for an opportunity. Now I know, okay, I'm going to look at this closer and I validate it. Remember the 3 validators? Is this a profitable segment? Is it big enough to justify my sales goals? Do they want what I have enough to pay for it? And can they afford to pay that amount? And if all those check, I'm a go. Green light. I just figured out if that business is going to fail inside of 30 seconds. I don't take 18 months. I don't take 18 months to fail a business. It's 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, that's why the $2 lead program absolutely ticks off all those boxes with great big giant red markers. So yeah,
that's why I jumped onto it so quickly. That's why I was willing to let go of other stuff that was going to get in my way to prevent that or slow it down. See, like when you start talking about roadmaps and plans, and not to say that plans are bad, right? Everybody needs a plan to succeed. I just formulate the plans really rapidly in my head. But when you sit down, like I see people do this all the time, they've got a great idea. They've validated the market. They've got everything they need to make a sale. And they start putting all kinds of shit in front of them that's going to slow it down. They've got some kind of a mental block that tells me they don't want to make money. Even though they're screaming at the top of their lungs, they need to make money. They're preventing it. They're sabotaging themselves. And I'm like, stop, just stop. You know how to do this. Let's just do it. You don't have to build the program. Sell the fucking thing. If you can't sell it, then don't build it. Do something else. You know? I mean, seriously. Sell it.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you've actually strung together a bunch of projects rather than, you didn't set out to build a company. You picked out different segments, and as these segments come together, they kind of have created a company, and you had to build the infrastructure around to support the company. But creating the company wasn't your idea. It was going after a group of people that needed to be serviced by a service that you are quickly noticing is about to go the way of the Goonie bird, and you quickly shifted gears from the photographic project to the online project. Did that, and you're kind of stacking all these beads together. But you didn't set out to create a company. You set out to go after one particular thing, and you've stacked them.
I set out to create a lifestyle, not a company. That's all that's been of concern to me, is freedom. And to me, a big company is not freedom. That's a lot of responsibility. Responsibility is not something I'm driven to. That's not something I want. I want freedom. I want lifestyle. So building a company to me is not what I want. I'm not looking to build some big, enormous company that I can sell and make $1 bazillion someday. That's not my thing. If it were, then I'd be doing the wrong thing, doing all the stuff that I've always done. To me, I know what I want. I know how to get it, and I've consistently gotten it.
That is incredibly illuminating. That made a distinction I didn't have before, John. Thank you very much. That's worth the whole call right there. You know, people didn't get that, they got to go back. They got to go back and re-listen to it because that's the critical point right there. Thank you, John.
Absolutely. So, all right. Anything else before we wrap up today?
I did have a quick question about membership site.
Okay.
How much should I charge for the membership site on Forbidden Elvis?
It just depends on the value you're delivering, the market. You got to do a little bit of market research to figure out, you know, look at what can they afford, what's it worth, what you're going to provide. I can tell you, I would do it monthly. I wouldn't do it annually. I'd either do it monthly or lifetime. If you can do, if you know that they're only going to come in and pay for a certain amount of months, then at that point, if you have enough data to make that call, then I would offer a lifetime that will put more money in your pocket and put it up front. Just because, you know, here's how long it's going to last. I can squeeze a little bit more out of it. But the lower the monthly, the less painful, the more value, the longer they'll stay. You know, if you start charging too much for something, if they start seeing every month, you know, $100 on their credit card bill, they're going to go, oh, is that really something I want to keep doing? But if you're talking about under 30 bucks, under 20 bucks, under 10 bucks, it's not even on their radar to even worry about it. Most people, you know, if they get value out of that, I mean, think about how much a cup of Starbucks coffee costs. You know, that if you're doing it for the price of a couple cups of coffee a month, people are not going to care. They're just going to keep paying it. They're going to keep, you know, and a lot of times they'll keep paying for it, not even use it. So there is no magic number for the price. I usually, if I'm going to price something, I look at value. How much value am I delivering? In your case, this is purely entertainment. So it's not like they're doing something where it's going to make them money. So you can't put like some super high value to it. It's purely entertainment. So look at it that way. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap up for this week. I got to hop on another thing. I'm doing another alignable thing with Sue here at 1 o'clock. And then I got a full day. Then I'm doing my crypto call at an hour after that at 2. So for some of you, I'll see you on there. If any of you guys want to join, it's the same link. If you want to get on there and hear the fresh updates for what's going on in that world. All right, guys, have a great week.
Thanks, John.
We will talk to y'all soon.
Super, John. Thank you. Great call.
Awesome. Bye-bye.